Hello and welcome to Racing in Queensland. I'm your host, Jesse McDonald, my co-host, Paul Knight. Welcome, Paul.
Jess, lovely to be here again.
And no, like we promised, we've got our special guest, Shannon Exline. Welcome, Shannon.
How you going, Jesse?
Not too bad. How you been?
Yeah, mate, not too bad. Can't complain.
That's the way. Well, we're here to tip winners. I hope you've done your form.
A little bit of form. Can't promise anything first up, but we'll see how we go.
Well, that's the way. That's what we'd like to hear. Well, let's get into it. We've got, first of all, we have to mention the 60-1 winner last week, Paul.
Mate, fantastic work. Our first week back, 2-year-old race, over 3 scratchings. My only other selection gets up and win, and then in the race 4, 67-1. What a beautiful thing. Go way, Bill. Thank you, Brian Guy.
60-1, a lovely tip. We did that interview. Did you get on?
No, I didn't. I'll learn for next time, though.
Well, there you go. That would have paid the rego. Just a sly tenner would have paid the rego for the year. But well done, Paul. That was a great selection. Let's get cracking and let's have a look at race 2. What are your selections?
Yeah, we're at Eagle Farm on Saturday. It's the Sky Racing Open Handicap over 1,000. I've gone with number 2, Manashi Dancer, trained by Darren Bell. Really likes 1,000 metres. If it was any longer than that, I probably wouldn't be tipping him. He's won 6 from 21, starts over 1,000 with 8 further placings. So I think he's almost a certainty in that. I've picked number 7, Huckleberry Dane from the Liam Birchley yard. 2 starts ago, ran a short head second to Temple of Boom in the time-honoured Magic Millions sprint. He'll go very close. For third, I've thrown in number 1, Poor Judge, trained by Normie Hilton. Group 3 winner, Group 1 placed over the spring. First up, he'll give a bold showing, even though he's carrying the grandstand. Yeah. What do you got, mate?
Well, let's have a look.
Agree, will you?
Nah, definitely not. What do you got, Shannon?
Mate, I got the 2 from the 1, 6 and 4. I'm agreeing with Paul. Monashi Dancer, very hard to beat. The 1, quality horse, bit of weight there, and the 6 from the 4 for 4th.
Righto, nice and simple there. I've gone for, obviously, against these 2. I like the 4 Tycoon Tattoo. I like the form line through What Happened Henry. I think it's a strong form line. Tycoon Tattoo. What Happened Henry? When it ran 5th behind it. I think that's solid form line. It's had, what's it had? It had 8 starts at the distance for 4 wins and 2 seconds. 1 start at the track and distance for a win. I like it on top from Poor Judge. Obviously the form horse and no doubt the one to beat. But like you said, it's carrying the grandstand. And number 2 for third, 4, 1 and 2. Well, it was always great to have Greyhound Pat back. He's a very astute form analyst. Analyst.
Yeah, he's a form analyst.
God, if I can get the tongue around that one. Anyway, moving on to race 4. What do you like, Paul?
Yeah, this is the 2-year-old handicap over 1,200 metres. I've gone for one of my favourite numbers, 14 after last week. Vortex, winner 2 starts ago, wasn't disgraced last start. It's trained by our octogenarian mate, Howard Wilson. And has the services of Chris Munsterboard. I've gone from 14, from 3, Aquatorial, from the astute Ron McKay stable. Last start ran second at Doomben, winner at Toowoomba before that, and he's a half-brother to a former good 2-year-old up here in Bonza Crop. And number 2, Dazzling Kind from Brian Guys. So I've gone 14, 3 and 2.
Shannon?
I've gone TAB order, 1, 2, 3. The 1, beat the 2 and the 3 last time. I think it'll happen again.
Fair enough. Straight up, I like the 5. I like the Show of Heart from the Kelly Dowdy stable with Matty Palmer on board. It's drawn the 2, 54.5. Looks like it's on the improve, and I've got it on top. I like Dazzling Kind for second and Easy Running for third, 5, 2 and 1. Now, we caught up with Shannon during on the weekend when you were having the club champions at BMD Northcliffe, and this is how the interview went along. Well, I'm here as promised with Ironman champion Shannon Eckstein, Nutrigrain Ironman champion to be exact. How are you, Shannon?
Yeah, good, Jesse. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Why we're here is, how'd you get involved in horses?
Mate, probably about 10 years ago. I was probably 16, 17 years old, and a guy I was training with, his dad was right into the horses. He's at the track every Saturday, so just ventured out there one Saturday and sort of got hooked on not just the betting, but just following the jockeys and the trainers. It's a whole nother sport to follow, and I've really enjoyed it since.
What is it about horse racing that captures your imagination?
I think it's like a lot of sport. Anything can happen. You don't know what's going to happen before they jump out of the gate. So you sort of try to bet on what's going to happen, anticipate that, and I think that's just what attracts me to it. The sort of the anxiousness of the race.
So you don't mind a bit of a flutter?
Yeah, I don't mind a punt now and again. I'm not a massive punter, but I do like to read the form and try and pick the odds out of it and pick some winners.
Now, what I like to get into is that you train pretty hard, and how often do you train?
Train Monday to Friday twice a day, so it's about 4 to 5 hours a day, and then Saturday morning, like we did today, train for a couple of hours, and then the rest of the weekend off. So I get Saturday arvos off, which is the main thing of my week, and then rest day Sunday. So it's not a bad program.
Now, is it a full-time job?
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to have a major sponsor in Kellogg's Nutrigrain.
Yep.
So they look after me really well, and obviously do the circuit in Australia and a few races around the world. So yeah, for me it's a full-time job, and I've grown up here on the Gold Coast, and it's the best place for an Ironman to be. So I really enjoy it.
Well, it's quite fitting that a boy from the Gold Coast is Ironman champion of Australia, or if not the world. Now, just in comparison with training as an Ironman and training with horses, as they say, they taper off with a long preparation. Do you find that happens with yourself?
Yeah, definitely. This preparation I'm in now, I've been going for, it feels like about 18 months straight. During our winter, I've raced overseas the last 2 winters, so I'm looking forward to the Australian titles coming up in April, and then I'll have a couple of months off, so I'm looking forward to a good spell in the paddock.
Yeah, as they would say.
That's right.
Plenty, hopefully a nice green paddock.
That's right. I'll put on a few kilos and fill out a bit, I think.
Do you lighten off? Do you actually put on quite a bit of weight when you stop
obviously
training?
one of the benefits of training so much is you can pretty much eat what you want. So
right.
sort of continue doing that in the off season, and you're going to put on weight. So that's one of the things. And you get back into training. The first month's pretty bad, but then after that, you get a bit fitter and get in the season.
Now, with racehorses, their diet's quite specific. How's your diet?
It's not too bad. I eat pretty healthy, but I do splurge out every now and again on some other stuff. So it's just the old saying, whatever you put in your body is the fuel. So if you're getting tired, or you're getting tired at training, then you got to start eating healthily and try and get the energy going in your body to train properly and race properly.
Now, just before we started the interview, you mentioned that you part own a racehorse. Have you had any luck?
Yeah, I had a horse out of Hurricane Sky. It's called Sky Mine a couple of years ago now with Robbie Lang down in Melbourne.
Yep.
Had bad knees, and we won a race on a Monday at Bairnsdale. And then
Did you get on?
Yeah, we got on. So then we sold it to a guy up on the Sunshine Coast, and it won a couple of races, I think, at Ipswich and Sunshine Coast, and then I think it's broken down now. So that was my first interest in the ownership, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We didn't have it here on the Gold Coast, it's obviously in Melbourne, so I'd love to have one up here and really get into that.
Well, we were sitting back and watching the Nutrigrain contest, and you were actually leading in one of the events, and it came up that you wanted to be budding ambition maybe to be a horse trainer. Is that true?
Oh, yeah, I think it's semi-true. Obviously, I'm not kidding myself. I'm 27 years old now, and I really don't know much about horse training, so it's probably a little bit more to get into it than that. So I'd love to sort of learn a little bit more about it and have an interest in it, definitely.
Do you think you would apply any of your training to horses in terms of maybe diet?
I think so, yeah. I think diet and in terms of fitness and those sorts of things and recovery, a lot of those things could probably help with the horse racing. And I've done an exercise science degree as well, so that might help as well. Besides
being an Ironman and doing that as a full-time job, what have you been to uni or studied something else?
Yeah, I studied here at Griffith on the Gold Coast, Bachelor of Exercise Science. It's a 3-year course. I did that while I was doing the Ironman race, and I really enjoyed it. It's something to take your mind off the racing and training and meet other people at uni and another crowd to mingle with. So, yeah, it's not a bad thing. That's why I like the horse racing. It's sort of a different crowd away from the Ironman crowd and the surf life saving crowd. So you mingle with some new people at the track and really enjoy that.
Yeah, so life after for an Ironman after he competes, and you can only compete to a certain age, I guess, at the top level, like any top sport. What's the sort of age limit that you're going to reach your peak?
Yeah, I'm 27 now. Probably a couple more years left in me yet. Obviously, you do have to be really fit and fast to do the sport, but there's a lot of surf skills in it as well, which is sort of the more you learn, the experience you learn, so you can deal with the waves and the rips and the banks, and so that sort of keeps you in the sport a little bit longer. So a couple more years in me left, and then who knows, I might be coaching or doing some commentary or something like that.
So you make reference, I was making reference to before doing the interview about jockeys. A good jockey has the ability to read a race. Does a good Ironman, as I would say, have the ability to read the surf?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Me and my mates, my horse racing mates, talk about that a lot with the Ironman racing, because we do go out around some cans and back in, so we sort of have the same sort of shape as a racehorse, and you want to be on the inside most of the time and sitting 1-1 or something like that. We're smoking the pipe and all those sayings we use. If we're in a race or watching a race on TV, we use those. So it's pretty funny, and it just adds a sort of a fun element to the sport for me.
So there is quite a lot of truth in the saying that to be number one, you have to be able to read the surf.
Yeah, definitely. I've grown up doing nippers, and since 5 years old, you're out in the surf, and you're getting taught about the surf, and then sort of once you understand it, you can start reading it a little bit better, where the waves are moving and the water's moving, and that helps you when you're racing.
And you surf as well?
Yeah, not so much when I'm training full on, but during the off season I'll surf quite a bit and really get into it. And here in the Gold Coast, you know, in winter it's cold, but it's not that bad compared to some places. So it's a pretty good spot to be surfing during winter.
Could be surfing in Tasmania.
That's right.
Well, I might have to get out with you over the Winter Carnival and catch some waves. Shannon, it's been a pleasure having you here on the show, and no doubt we can be tipping you some winners, and hopefully our fans out there and our audience will benefit from some winners.
Yeah, hopefully that's the main thing, isn't it? Back some winners.
That's what it's all about. We talk from the hip pocket here, and that's what it's all about. Well, thank you, Shannon, for joining us on Racing in Queensland.
Thanks, Jesse.
What an interesting insight that was, Shannon, with you down there at Northcliffe over the weekend. You're talking about most interesting thing being a horse trainer.
Yeah, it's an ambition of mine. You never know. I don't kid myself though. I'm 27 years old. It's pretty hard to get into something like that at this age. But I've grown up loving the horses, so I like to keep involved.
Yeah. Well, no doubt maybe applying some of your training in being an Ironman might pay off in the thoroughbred industry. You never know. Yeah,
you never know. I've been to uni, done an exercise science degree, and obviously all the training I do for my sport. So whether that crosses over to horse racing, who knows? So we'll see for the future.
I'm sure it'd have some familiar aspects, no doubt, crossing over, definitely like you were saying, with recovery rate and diet.
Yeah, nutrition-wise, obviously what you put into your body is how you're going to perform, and things like runs weeks between races and going out for a spell and those sorts of things, that still applies to the humans, I think, and especially my sport, where we tend to get quite tired from all the training we're doing and the racing, so you do need to space out the racing and the recovery.
So definitely, yeah, interesting that you talk about the time between each runs and how you space that and get the optimum amount out of your body.
Yeah, you obviously need time to come down after a big race, and then time to sort of refresh the batteries, put in a bit of training, a bit of work, and then come up for the next race. And I think that applies to horse racing as well.
I'm sure coming first quite often with the paycheck always helps recovery.
Yeah, definitely. At the end of the day, you can obviously enjoy the beer a lot more if you've got the biggest paycheck of the day.